Today we'll be adding our special clay paint called Glaze onto our shields. When we are glazing, we have to paint the largest areas first, then the small details. So on our shield, the largest area is going to be the background around your letter. So we're going to paint that first. When you're painting, you kind of have to smoosh the brush a little bit into the cracks of the clay to make sure that we cover all of it as much as possible. And we want to do our best trying not to get the glaze onto our letter. I'm picking one color for the background, and then I'm going to add one color for my letter. If we add too many colors, it can get hard to see our texture and it can get hard to see our letter. So I want you to pick one color for your background of your shield. You might have to pick up your clay, turn it a little bit. That way you can see all of the areas of clay that you need to smoosh the glaze into, and do your best to fill it as much as possible. So right now this is my first layer, and you can see the glaze is drying pretty quickly. So by the time I'm done painting all the background, I'll be ready to add my second layer. Now that I finished painting that, I'm going back with the same color and adding a second layer of glaze on top, another coat of glaze. Going around doing the same thing, smooshing my brush into all those nooks and crannies, and adding my second layer of glaze. Now that I'm finished painting my second layer, I'm washing my brush really good, giving him a good scrub. Then I'm going to wipe it off on the edge and wipe it on my towel before I get a new color. Now I'm picking another color to add on my letter. I'm picking another color, that way my letter can stand out. And I'm going to do the same steps. I'm going to paint it all the way one time, turning my clay, making sure I get into all those nooks and crannies, and I'm trying my best not to get that glaze onto the background. I'm trying to only keep it on my letter as best as I can. Look, when I turn it, oh, there's some white spots. Gotta cover those up as best as I can. And after this dries, then I'm going to add my second layer of glaze on that color as well. Now remember, we want to add 3 layers of glaze, but right now it's taking the glaze a little bit longer to dry because there's more paint. So you might have to wait for it to dry a little bit, or in my case, I have some extra details on the edge. So I'm using another color to paint those details on the sides as well. And I want to make sure that I cover all the areas on the front and the sides, but I do not want any glaze on the bottom. If glaze gets on the bottom, then it can stick inside the kiln and I can't get it off. I have to smash it with a hammer, and I don't want to smash anybody's work. So we want to make sure that we do not put any glaze on the bottom. Now that I finished and I went back and added 3 layers of glaze on all 3 parts of my shield, I have a little bit of time left over. So I'm going through and overlapping the glaze and adding some extra details. I'm adding a pattern of stripes around the edge of my shield with a different color, and then I'll add some polka dots on my letter if I still have some time left over. Now that I've finished adding all my details and layers of glaze, I'm going to wash my brush, put it away, and I can bring my clay to Ms. Jeffrey's desk. I can't wait to see what yours look like. Happy creating!